Hi everyone, I am on the Moodle site at the very top and want to run through the materials that are out there. Now at the top of the page, Project 2, it's the Proposal and Analytical Report project. And I put the most complex project here at the middle of the semester instead of saving it for the end. Sort of to so you can get through it and then not have this major project looming at the end of the semester. What you'll see are these 5 items, which we'll be focusing on for the next 4 weeks. And you can see here there's an introduction, and I want to walk through the items in the introduction so that you can see what is due this week, especially. Basically, you're collaborating on a 3-page proposal and a 12-page analytical report. The purpose of the proposal is to propose a certain way of meeting the requirements for the 12-page analytical report. So a proposal, as you know, is an argument for solving a problem, and the problem in this case is the writing of a 12-page report by teammates. The 12-page report is 12 pages total from your team, not 12 pages from each teammate. Similarly, the 3-page proposal is from your team. It's not 3 pages from each teammate. In order to do the project, you'll have to read through the Project 2 vision and requirements. And through the materials that will prepare you to complete the project, which are in chapters 8 and 10 in technical communication today. I believe the proposal is chapter 10 and the analytical report is chapter 8, or it's the other way around, but those are your chapters. To prepare you for that work, I'm asking you to review 10 sources which I've provided. And as a team, divide up the 10 sources among you. Each of the 10 sources requires 11 annotation steps. So you'll use all 11 annotation steps for each of the 10 sources total. And how you divide up that work for your team is up to you. And I'd like you to prepare a memo that shows how you have divided up the work. It's not the case that each teammate has to apply all 11 annotation steps to all 10 sources. It's as a team, you must do that work. So prepare a memo that shows how you have divided your work, save it to your team folder, and then share it with me. You want to use a memo format and style your memo using styles, not manually styling the content. 3, ask you to read the 2 chapters. 4, ask you to complete the retrospective, and I'll show you what that is in just a sec. And then you need to complete the research requirements as directed in the Project 2, not Project 1, but Project 2. I've corrected that error, so it's your Project 2 vision and requirements document. And insert your responses to the research steps there. And then I'm asking you to complete 2 scrums this week, no more than 1 on the weekend. I'd like people to check in once before the weekend to talk about how much of the work you've completed. And because of the difficulties you've reported in arranging for face-to-face scrums or synchronous scrums, that is, everyone meeting at the same time, either in person or via video call, I've made those optional. I strongly encourage you, because they're much more effective, to hold them together than to hold them separately or asynchronously. but that'll be up to you. And then I'm asking you to complete a form that will have your responses to the 3 Scrum questions. And I can go back to the home page here and walk through the remainder of the details. You can see the Project 2 Vision and Requirements document asks you to craft the 12-page analytical report together. Once again, it's 12 pages total, not 12 pages each. Please review this. I won't go over every detail here, but these are details about formatting and length, single-spaced, with the appropriate sections. And you will see the textbook tells you what those sections are. I'll ask you to style using formatting and not to manually style your work. Cite a minimum of 6 sources, and those can be from the 10 that are listed below. You'll see those in just a minute. And they may include additional ones. It's likely that you will have to include additional ones in order to do your analysis. The theme of this piece, of this analysis, is the ethics of wearable technologies. And I will preview that in another video. So here, I'm asking you to divide the work so your team will decide how to complete the annotation requirements for the 10 sources. I'll leave that to you. And then each teammate completes all research requirements and posts ideas to a shared document in the team's Project 2 folder. The reason I ask you to do that is that you have to agree as a team on the approach to take to the analytical report project. And in order to sort of prime the pump, I'm asking you to review the 5 research requirements, which will be familiar to you. They're the same as last time, but you're applying them to the question of ethics of wearable technologies. So each of you will produce answers to these 5 steps. Post them to a memo, and that tells me that you've looked at each other's work, and it tells me that you've reflected on these issues. Each teammate commits to contributing specific types of content to the proposal and the analytical report, and you can outline the major sections of the proposal and the analytical report, and then divide and conquer. Some people look at the 12-page analytical report, and if you have a 6-person team, you say, well, that's 2 pages each. And that is a good place to start, I guess. But you might want to think more carefully and more detailed about the components of the analytical report and how you will divide those components up. I think that's a more fruitful way to think about dividing the work. Teams divide the requirements for peer review as you did for Project 1. So once again, you have those 11 steps, and you need to divide those up and then review your draft analytical report through the lens of those specified requirements. The sources section gives you 10 sources. You don't have to search for your initial sources for this project. I've given you 10 that these are the 10 that I'm asking you to annotate. And as you look through them, they are in a variety of forms, I guess. Here's an introduction, and you might apply the 11 critical thinking steps just to this introductory paragraph. Or in this case, when you are led to a page that has other sources on it, you can basically decide, choose one of the articles listed, including this one here. Employees are experimenting with devices, employers rather. And so here, the ethical concerns of having bosses require that you wear tracking devices is a very interesting issue, isn't it? Pardon me. So once again, then, if you run across something that offers a lot of different resources, and doesn't offer what you feel is enough information to annotate using the 11 steps, feel free to click on to find another source that you can annotate instead. So you have choices in some cases. Watch the Road, for example, provides several ideas based on the ethics of some of the wearable devices. And so you can select one from here. The goal of this exercise, the 10 sources, is for the teams to be immersed in issues and vocabulary surrounding the question of ethical impacts, ethical use of wearable technologies. And so you can annotate any items, any 10 items, as long as they begin from this list. If you want to expand your understanding of different kinds of wearables, you can look at these products. All of these products, or any of these products, might be used as examples for your analytical report. We know what the topic is. Your goal as a team is to come up with a hypothesis first, and then a thesis in which you analyze what the impact is and draw conclusions from that analysis. So you have these sources to begin with, and then you can expand. You would have to use 6 sources total. So start with these, and then you can expand into other relevant, valid sources. And then you can also use examples from this list and others if you like. As you scroll down, you will see that the Project 2 requirements are outlined as they were before for Project 1, and this includes notes. Thinking about you're evaluating sources that you're going to use in your analytical report, and then when you do peer review, you'll be checking to make sure that signal phrases are included in the analytical report. One of the reasons I ask you to think about the credibility of sources is that you would include a signal phrase in your analytical reports that tells us what makes this source material valid, useful, relevant, and credible. So a signal phrase says, well, I'll detail the signal phrase idea later. Project folders for Project 2 are all here. Make all Project 2 work visible here. When you go there, you will see your Team A analytical report folder. So anything related to the analytical report should go there. Anything related to the proposal should go into your proposal folder. You no doubt want to create subfolders, and that's fine as long as each team uses the same format. Each teammate uses the same file names for your folders and your files consistently as you did for Project 1. I've provided some notes on writing hypotheses for you to read. It gives you some background on how you will develop a hypothesis to test through readings, through surveys, through observation for the analytical report. Here then is the link for your Scrum updates, and again, I'd like you to please do one during the week and one on the weekend so that your teammates and I are apprised of your progress on the project. And finally, I've added this link to a retrospective which asks you to evaluate what went well and what can be improved for Project 2. So please go to that form and fill it out as directed. And that too is due by Sunday at midnight. Thanks, everybody.